All right. Hey, welcome to TV Squad. No, we're not in a new studio, not yet, but we are in a new set. We look like every other podcast we write about now.
Whoa.
What?
Maybe a bit more greenery.
But love our new logo, TV Squad on the screen there. And we have a new opening. So hopefully, finally, eventually, you will get to see the show. But for now, I'm Chase, joined here by the lovely Faye.
Hello.
And then over on the other side is our boys, Phil and Sean.
Hello. Good to see you
I've
guys.
been demoted to being mentioned last now.
Well, I was hoping for lovely Phil, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
Lovely boy, Phil.
Phil's just happy I didn't call him
We've both been
Ludwig,
demoted.
Beethoven. He's just hoping that, hey, listen, man. But, I mean, like, either way we look at it, TV Squad is still the same, where we talk about our favorite TV shows, not what's recently out, but what we recommend for you and where you can find it. Right, Josh?
Absolutely.
All right. So, basically, I'm going to be talking about The Defenders that are on Netflix. Faye's going to be talking about
Carol and Tuesday. That's on Netflix.
Awesome.
Sean.
I'll be talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Where can we find it?
Netflix.
Oh,
Whoa. Okay. And I'm going to be talking about the sitcom Upstart Crow, which came out on BBC Two originally, but is now a little bit scattered over Now TV, a little bit on Prime, Amazon Prime, which is a free version, isn't it? I think, yeah. Full series on there. So, yeah, it's there to see. It's well worth looking at.
So, despite Netflix's troubles, they have a lot of shows that we actually like and recommend. So, the way you look at it is that,
What about
It's
that?
all right. They've solved the problem now. They're just going to stop doing animation because apparently putting up their prices wasn't the problem.
Exactly. It wasn't the problem. I mean,
Devastating.
they are like about, 300 million in a hole?
Yeah, it did. The share price dropped by a drastic percentage.
It's
Because
because they
nobody's
stopped
buying
us
it.
sharing passwords. And it's like,
Yeah. And
That's what you get.
Are you doing it? I'm doing it.
Everyone's doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
Well, no,
Everybody's
it's
doing
not
it.
that. It's the streaming wars. It's just that we got way too many channels, way more than when we had actual cable TV. And because all of those different streams you had to pay for,
Right.
you're paying more than you did when you had cable TV.
Yeah, it's not that long ago that Bruce Springsteen sang 57 channels and nothing on. Man, you're joking. 570 channels these days.
Well, the interesting thing is people are saying that the VHS is coming back, and pretty soon the blockbusters might follow.
Why
Blockbusters?
on earth
That
would
sounds-
VHS
that
come
sounds
back?
like such a
I mean,
big
I'm not.
Well, no, that's what people are saying because they don't want to pay all this money for the streaming services.
Right.
no, I get that. I get that.
And basically, it's about content.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be TV series content, but that's what they're saying.
I get you.
I mean, I loved my blockbuster. What about you, Phil?
Oh,
'Cause you-
absolutely! It was Unite's entertainment. It was great to go down there together, have a good old browse around.
I don't know about you.
Get
I don't.
the-
What do you mean go together?
Get the bottle of wine, with your loved one, man, with your girl. Go
Before
down there.
Netflix and chill,
Yeah.
you go to the blockbuster. You pick
Yeah.
up 2 movies.
Well, yeah, you choose one each. You get your bottle of wine, you get your takeaway, your Chinese or whatever, and you go home and that's your
Absolute
night,
class
man.
night. Classy night. I love that film.
It was like the video library. I just love walking around the blockbuster for about 2 hours before choosing the first film I saw.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, and then straight back out and home.
You're just sitting there for ages. You're like, nah, there's nothing I want.
I just would take the first one I just picked. I had to look at everything else, right?
No, absolutely.
What about you, youngins? Have you ever experienced?
Oh, yeah,
a blockbuster?
Oh God, yeah. There was one
Yeah.
by mine in Allerton. I used to go for the Barbie movies.
same by
for
mine,
the
but-
Barbie movies.
I mean, not the
Fantastic.
Barbie movie thing.
We had to get them all on flipping DVD, darling, for my daughter.
Yeah.
Oh God, I was an expert in the Barbie movies. Oh no, not the Barbie movies.
Do you remember when like
please.
they wouldn't give you the ones with the actual covers on them? They give them like really bland looking covers on. At least on the
which ones were you in the market?
At least
Are you
Well,
talking about the porn that's in the back?
No, I'm talking
under-
back when it was VHS.
Yeah, okay.
Believe it or not, I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah, I know.
I was
so
here
am I.
for
Not the under the
DVDs.
not the under the counter ones at all.
Yeah,
no, no.
yeah, there was no DVDs in the blockbusters. It was all VHS. Yeah.
They eventually did video games as well, which is cool.
Eventually. But either way, I just thought it would be nice to go down that memory lane. So either way, let's get back to the shows. So we're going to start with Phil, because this is the one show I don't know about. So, tell us about Upstart Crow.
Okay. Well, Upstart Crow is a sitcom, and it's got a fabulous cast, which I'll go through in a bit more detail in a second. But it basically is about Shakespeare, and it's set specifically in 1592 in the days of the first Queen Elizabeth, quite specifically because that's the point at which the real Shakespeare was commuting between London and Stratford. So because it's written by Ben Elton.
Oh yeah, Ben Elton, yeah.
And has a fabulous cast, which, as I just mentioned, like people like Mark Heap, who was Jim next door in Friday Night Dinner. He was terrified of his own dog.
Wilson.
He was also in Green Wing. Do you remember him in that? He was wonderful.
He's been in so much.
He's so good.
I love him.
It's like a new repertory company, isn't it? Really, these guys, they all work together in this, on the same sort of projects. But yeah, David Mitchell plays Shakespeare himself. What's her name? Lisa Tarbuck plays his wife, Anne Hathaway.
Oh, I love her. Yeah,
she's wonderful, and she's wonderful in this.
Sorry, what's his wife's name?
Lisa Tarbuck.
Her name was actually Anne Hathaway. That's not a joke.
No, it's not, and I'll come back to that. But yeah, I'll come back to it.
Anne Hathaway, the actress, is named after.
Yes, indeed. That's right. That's right. And in fact, if you, like I say, I'll tell you now. I grew up 12 miles from Stratford, and so it's really part of my DNA. That's one of the reasons I'm so attracted to this wonderful series. But Anne Hathaway's cottage is actually something. If you go down the A34 Stratford Road, you'll see signs for Anne Hathaway's cottage. So yeah, when I first heard the actress's name, I was like, oh, weird. Yeah,
exactly.
That's right. Yeah. So it's Lisa Tarbuck. Harry Enfield plays his father.
Wow.
He's so funny, and he plays him like a proper drummer. What are you bloody talking? What this is Shakespeare. It's the antidote to Shakespeare.
Yeah.
If you can't stand Shakespeare because of the impenetrable nature of the language, this show is for you, because it takes the mickey out of it from beginning to end.
Perfect.
It's wonderful. It really is. And also features Paula Wilcox. Is that a name anybody recognises from Man About the House?
Oh, I love Man About the House.
Absolutely.
So she was one of the roommates.
Girls, that's right, yeah. So it's a fabulous cast, as I say.
Yeah.
And they play off each other, but it's brilliantly written, and it's all full of modern references. So his complaints about the 3-day commute down to London from Stratford because of the ruts on his coach journey. Oh.
Naughty. So I didn't turn a phone off.
Sorry.
Silent. But I swear we are professionals.
We are, of course we are.
I'm not.
But it was originally written and produced to coincide with the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's passing. In 2016 it came out, so obviously that was in 1616.
Yeah, because that's when I saw season 1, because I do know this show.
Absolutely.
And I did watch some of it. I had to think, because I had a really big hatred for Shakespeare at the age of 16. Sorry, everyone.
Most of us do. Most of us do, yeah. But this, like I say... don't. Well, okay. But
when you go to school, you're forced to learn it. How about that?
Yeah, you're forced to learn it, as you say. Even dragged to the theatre, in my case, to go and watch one, which most of us did on our O-level courses, And it's like, oh my God, what is... But then you learn a bit more about the background, and it becomes far more interesting. And so it's over. It's a 3-season series of a total of 21 30-minute episodes.
Nice.
Which includes two Christmas specials.
Did you mention David Mitchell as Shakespeare?
Yeah. From Peep Show, obviously.
Obviously, I wanted to say legend.
Absolute legend, and he's brilliant in this.
So much.
So brilliant.
I love his voice, the tone when he acts. It's just perfect.
It really is.
The way he speaks.
Definitely got to talk about more shows he's in, especially with the ones of Robert Webb.
Very much so. But the references, of course, are all brought back to the modern day because of the way Ben Elton writes. Yeah. And therefore, there's constant references, say, to commuting, or to the way that he's writing the plays, and his mum and dad are going, "What did you just say?" And he says it again. Well, why don't you just say it like it is? It's just brilliant.
So would each season?
Sorry, did you choke on your water, Blake? What happened? I just looked at you and you were like,
producer is choking to death.
I just looked and I was like, are we okay?
He's turning red.
Somebody's
I
hit him
was
on
trying
the...
to fight it. I was like, I'm not working.
He's Blake's
Drink some water, Blake.
Blake's drowning.
He's drowning in the water already.
That's probably the problem in the first place.
It's dust about my throat. And I tried to drink it, but it made it worse. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
I just catch you in the corner, like slowly dying. I was like looking at Phil. I was like,
Only fake haired.
I didn't say I did anything. I just saw
To be
him.
fair, I can't see him from here.
I was just there, like,
Blake's dead.
Yeah.
Carl.
So anyway, so Phil, so like, you know, does it follow like Shakespeare's plays like each season, or you know, that kind of thing?
What it does, Chase, is it follows his career. So what it's actually set in two houses, two sets, each a house. One a house in Stratford where his family are. One a house in London where his housekeeper is, and sorry, not his housekeeper. He's actually a guy whose name is actually Bottom. His name is Bottom, right? He's the only character. He's like he's PA, I guess you'd call him. He's the only character of all the characters in the cast that isn't a real person. So everybody else is a historical person in reality.
Right,
that's cool. I like
Apart
that.
from Bottom, who of course is a character in A Midsummer Night's Dream. So the nice little tweak there. And he's the constant comments about Shakespeare's behaviour in London, which is quite funny, as the star, the upcoming star.
That's another show we've got to do. Bottom. Rick
Yes.
Oh my God, yes.
We're back to the repertory company, aren't we? With Ben Elton, Rick Mail, with all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. They all work so brilliantly together. So so the title comes from a genuine insult aimed, and it's an Elizabethan insult by one of the main characters in the sitcom named Richard Green, who's a competitor to Shakespeare, a competitive playwright.
Yeah.
And the Upstart Crow is an insult, which is looking at this provincial character who hasn't even been to university, impinging on my ground and on my patch. So he's obviously a complete idiot. He's played by Mark Heap, and it's just all I can say time and time again. Really, it's just so well written. It interweaves with reality. It opens in the first episode with him writing. He's just in the middle of writing Romeo and Julian. The first draft.
So before it became Romeo and Juliet.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes
Was Julian female or?
No.
All right.
Okay.
Journey
There
goes
was nothing wrong with that at the time.
Of course, but no,
Two
there wouldn't
dudes.
have been. And there were constant references all the way through to the total sexism involved in theatre at the time, where no females were allowed on the stage.
Yeah, so men play females.
Absolutely, or boys. That's right. So it's a constant reference back to modern times and a comparison.
Why
to
was that?
time.
Did they just say women can't act?
Because they were actually it was the next thing to being a prostitute, basically. That's how they thought of it.
Yeah.
So again, you can also reference films such as.
So were gigolos very, very respectable people back then, or something?
Oh well, who knows? Yeah, but the truth, as Chase speaks it, is that no, Romeo and Julian wouldn't have been thought of as particularly wild back in Elizabethan days. That's the truth of it, because society was far more relaxed about all that sort of stuff. Far more relaxed at that time.
I don't know. It would have been interesting to see that, actually, because with all of the Victorian pieces that we have been given, we really, I don't know. I think it's only been hinted at. Like, I'm thinking about Dangerous Liaisons or something like that, or Valmont.
Yeah.
It's never been totally out there about sexuality or whatever and stuff like that. So
I think
it would be interesting.
If you look into it.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm talking about film.
Validates what you're saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Absolutely.
I meant film-wise or TV-wise, it would be interesting to see that, especially now that you got like the success of Bridgerton or
Yes.
That's
or
right.
that.
That's right.
What is
Sex
it?
education.
No, San Deaton or something like that.
No,
It's
okay.
another like.
Oh yeah, I know what you're on about. I can't remember the name.
Where they're featuring blind casting and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But really, yeah. Yeah, that's a whole other subject, I suppose. apart
No,
from
no,
that.
it's just that you brought it up.
But that's right, yeah. But yeah, it's the sexism thing is fascinating, and it does reference Shakespeare in Love. Has anybody seen Shakespeare in
Oh,
Love?
I love Shakespeare in Love.
Well,
man.
of course, that's all
Great
about.
title.
That's all about the sexual. Sorry, the sex of the actors and the protagonists and so on. It just reflects all that stuff. It was also released at the time that Kenneth Branagh was filming his feature film as kind of the other side of the same coin, quite consciously, and he released the film called All Is True. It was filmed at the same time as Upstart Crow. They were very consciously doing two sides of the story: the comedic, the antidote, and the true story as Branagh sees it. And both are written by Ben Elton. Absolutely superb.
Wow.
All Is True is absolutely well worth a look, but that's obviously another program. So yeah, it feeds both people who are intimidated potentially by the whole Shakespeare thing and just don't get it, and me, who I'm a Shakespeare nutter. I'm a complete nut. It's like I say, it's local to me. I used to go and swim in the Avon outside the theatre when I was a teenager. I was jumping on, on and off the boats in the river. So it's part of my DNA, as I said before. But I also love the language, so it really, and the poetry and everything else. It also covers all sorts of controversies, like, did he really write these plays?
Yeah.
How could one man who'd not even been to university write these stories? That's impossible. So people
And
like...
at university, if you're doing English, you've got to learn about him.
Well, yeah, no, that's right. That's right, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. So people like Kit Marlowe is featured... Christopher Marlowe, who was very much contemporary of his and a very much a competitive playwright, and very, very successful. And there are all sorts of conspiracy theories around that Marlowe actually wrote a large proportion of the plays, but that's all for conjecture. But it feeds all those things. The Shakespeare lovers are satisfied by it because it's all about the history. But also the Shakespeare haters will just love it as well. It's brilliant.
Right.
Me. Sorry, I hate Shakespeare to this
But
day.
you said, as you say, you saw the first.
The show itself is
season.
really funny.
It's
like
brilliant.
I do love it. It's just I think I fall in that category of I hate Shakespeare.
Sure, yeah,
but
sure.
this show is.
It's just.
Is
I feel like
good.
more and more people are you are going to develop over the years. I think just like slowly and surely, people are just going to start being like, let's go for something a bit more modern.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So that's Upstart Crow, which, as Phil says, you can find on Now.
You can
Now,
Now.
In part
Now.
now. In part now. Yeah. In part Prime.
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 Well, no, I'm
Now.
just saying because
Can't see that
you
getting
said
away.
it was on BBC.
Yeah,
It got
iPlayer.
taken.
Brit Box is involved. There's bits and pieces here and there. I haven't actually been able to track down the complete 3 seasons in one place.
Yeah.
I guess if you pay Amazon, you'll probably
Yeah.
get that. Yeah, that's right.
Nice one.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So, I mean, like, that was a bit of UK telly. I'm going to hit us with a bit of US telly. As you know, I like to do the superhero shows and everything like that. And I decided to do a binge this weekend because I got Disney Plus. And I figured I'll go back to check out Marvel's The Defenders. I almost chose Marvel's Inhumans, and then I chose wisely, I think, on The Defenders. Because basically now that they're all on Disney Plus, and and I'm thinking, listen, man, I mean, like, I gotta watch this, but at the time it was like, it was a hit and miss, because what happened is that between the Netflix Marvel heroes, we had this whole behind the scenes going on. Kevin Feige was planning his takeover, Ike Perlmutter and everything like that, stopping him at every door. And then they had a different TV division. So they had Jeff Loeb, who was a famous writer of Marvel Comics, heading up the TV division. But because he was a writer, he figured I'm gonna need somebody to do the actual shows, so he hired Scott Buck. Bad freaking move, because you might say, "Who's Scott Buck?" I'm not going to even go into it, but he just ruined everything because he came in and he just ram shot over these characters from the Inhumans to Iron Fist. And thankfully, he didn't ruin Daredevil because that was Stephen McKnight. Luke Cage and Jessica Jones was also a show run by different people. But when it came down to Iron Fist and the Inhumans,
the fact that this was the same guy who was the showrunner for the final few seasons of Dexter, which nobody likes.
Wow.
Should have said it all, really.
Wow.
Scott Buck is just no, terrible as a showrunner. But either way so this was a way of combining all our heroes into one team show. So in the comics, it was very famous for the Avengers to team up with the Defenders. So, the Defenders was like a non-team kind of thing. And that was their specialty, is that, like, we're no team. and
yet
stuff like
they
that.
acted like a team.
Exactly. They always was pulled together to save the world. And so that's what the concept was for this.
I feel like that was like 2/3 of this show. 2/3 was like, we don't work as a team. And then the final
like
third,
each other.
if even that, was like, all right, let's just work as a team then.
Exactly. It's like when Jessica says, just tell me when they fit you for a suit, to Luke Cage and stuff like that, and like, and thankfully I'd forgotten that Matt Murdock finally did get into the Daredevil outfit, because I'm like, Jesus Christ, him walking around with Jessica Jones' scarf on his head.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the frick is going on? Because I kind of like hate that, where people feel stupid in costume, but this is what the show is. It's a costume show. You're superheroes, man. Yeah. Don't feel stupid about it. Wear it with pride.
Also, at the end of Jessica Jones season 1, which obviously Luke Cage debuted in before his own series, I don't know. It's just so weird. Like, they kind of left on awkward terms, because they had a massive falling out, which kind of got resolved, but they never really spoke about it. And then all of a sudden they bump into each other again. They're like, "Oh, you're right."
Yeah, but then it was kind of like they did kind of deal with the awkwardness around it, because what's interesting is in the comics, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage end up married and have a daughter, and everything, and there seemed to be like an indication that they would do that here. I mean, that's another thing that I didn't like about the show, was that, like, we love fan service. We love to get those little drops or pearls. I mean, like, for example, we have the cop character, Misty Knight. Beautiful play by Wanda Mesnick, I think her name is. And, like, in the comics, she loses her arm to get a bionic arm, very early on. But it happened near the end of the series and stuff like that, But what I was trying to say is that they dropped that fan service on us. But she also has a relationship with Iron Fist, Danny Rand, where they play up this relationship because he has a sidekick of Colleen Wing, who is helping him hunt down a Hand, which is what their target is. Danny and Colleen are hunting down a Hand who killed his family. That's how it begins. That's who is our villains in the show. But they never, in the comics, they have more of a brother-sister relationship. And then they forced this romantic relationship on them just because they were partners. Right. Why can't we just be partners and friends?
Yeah.
And it was awkward even watching them like kiss and try to have like, a sexual relationship, because it's kind of like that's not who they are.
Wow.
But then, so they barely put him and Misty together, and they were the ones who had a real big, strong relationship in the company. So I'm kind of like, man, why you guys not following protocol here and stuff? So that was what my problem was when I first saw Defenders.
To be fair, a lot of they've not followed protocol for a lot of stuff in this universe.
No, I get it, but then
I mean, maybe it's because I didn't read the comic versions, but
I
I had no problem with their relationship. They had enough in common, I think, and I actually really liked them both being together.
Yeah, I know, but it's just that whole thing about forced relationships. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, what we got is got this interest. What was really interesting about the hand, we always knew about the hand. We've seen the hand in different versions. We even seen the hand in Wolverine and stuff, the Wolverine movies. But they came up with a concept that the hand was led by 5 leaders or 5 refugees from Kunlun, which is Iron Fist's place in another dimension. So 5 leaders, 5 fingers, they are the hand. And I thought that was, okay, that's just pretty interesting. And the leader of this group is played by Sigourney Weaver. Now you're like, well, wait a minute. Now this is kind of cool because Sigourney Weaver, Ripley, you know.
yeah.
But then they made a thing. But what they did was they made a thing where she had a sickness and she was dying.
That annoyed me. Yeah, I was just like.
But it was. I think they did that because.
How'd you introduce your villain? You're dying.
Yeah, I think they did that because I can't do kung fu. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Sigourney barely, will do some moves and stuff.
Right.
And everything.
She took on Elektra, yeah.
Well, yeah, but barely and stuff. But that was the whole thing. If anybody watched, what was it, Daredevil season 2? Elektra was
a psychopath to begin with.
Yeah, but she was Daredevil's girlfriend. She dies and everything else like that. And this is about her being resurrected. So that's
by
what
the hand, yeah.
by the hand, by Sigourney and stuff like that. And so she's kind of like a killing machine, whatever.
You know, one thing I actually did really like that. Sorry to interrupt. I just but what I like is because I just said like in Daredevil season 2 she was a bit of a like even when she's how old was she in that flashback, like 12 or something, she's slitting people's throats.
Yeah.
And yet in this one, even though she's lost her memory, it's like because obviously she knows it just shows how close she and Matt were because he didn't want her killing people, and yet even though she's lost her memory, she can't find a compulsion to kill people.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Which I think is really well done.
Yeah, and so. Again, love stories, but it's like.
But then it's very canonical to the comics, though, isn't it?
Yeah, canonical, yeah. And Matt was, trying to bring her back, and he spent most of his time trying to bring her back. And so basically, the Defenders don't know each other, right? Which I thought was cool. It made the first episode kind of slow. But then, when Luke and Luke and the Iron Fist meet for the first time. Now, this is like, do you know about Luke and Cage and the Iron Fist? It's like they're the heroes for hire. Yeah. They're for me, massive comic and stuff like that, brotherhood and stuff. So when they first meet in an alley and everything, he uses his Iron Fist.
Yeah, eventually. The trailer makes it look like he does it straight away, but it takes him freaking ages to finally go, you know what? He's really super strong. I should probably use a bit of strength.
Yeah. But it's funny because what's the guy's name? Reese Jones, Finn Jones. When they hired him, Finn Jones was from Game of Thrones, and so they just hired some cute little, white guy and stuff. He knew no karate whatsoever.
Right.
He barely had 6 months to train.
Right.
Right before he had to shoot. This is why I'm trying to say Scott Buck just totally messed this thing up. Right. To the point where people think that, you know what, you're doing misappropriation anyway, because if he does kung fu, he should be Asian or Chinese or whatever. And that's like, you're the racist, because just because he does kung fu doesn't mean that he should be Asian. What the hell? This is about a white kid who travels to this monastery with his parents. His parents get killed and everything, and he's trained by the monks.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So it sounds like,
but he doesn't have to be Asian. I hated that whole thing that people were doing. But the point is that so he's supposed to be a master of kung fu, whatever, and all that kind of stuff. But he can't fight. So they had to do all of his fights in the dark. Right? We had all these fights in the shadows and everything like that.
Because he only had that limited time to learn.
Because he had that limited time to learn. Yeah. But then so he's fighting Luke Cage, and so when he's hitting him, and Luke Cage is bulletproof, right? What are you doing, bro? What?
Stop.
Stop, man. Stop. What's happening?
It's like little kitten kisses.
So then he's figuring, if you're strong, he uses the Iron Fist, and then he goes, right? And his face goes, right?
Sounds like Dillian White.
Yeah. It was fantastic. But it didn't kill him, but you know what I mean?
It's funny because in the previous, was it season 1 of Luke Cage where like someone tries to do it and then you can literally see the fist bone, bone breaking out of their feet because they do it that hard.
Wow.
And he's just not phased at all. And then they do it again, except this time he's like, oh shit.
Yeah. So they meet and everything like that. And then, so with the third episode, that's when they all, like, kind of like detectives, they're all trying to figure out what's going on, and they all end up at the same place at the same time, right? And where the hand is. And that's where we get our big hallway fight. So if you ever watched any of the Marvel Netflix shows, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, it was always about what they call the hallway fight, especially Daredevil. You know, they invented the hallway fight. But this was like 4 heroes in the hallway.
Well, technically, no, because that whole Daredevil hallway fight was inspired by Old Boy.
Yeah, but Old Boy saw it from, you've seen it from the
From a side view, but it was still inspired. The whole one-shot thing was still inspired.
No, I get you, but it was a different angle. But yeah.
Well, he wasn't going to copy it fucking scene for scene.
Well, okay, bro. Either way. Right? So that was all really good and stuff. And then that's when Daredevil or Matt meets Elektra alive and all that kind of stuff. And it becomes about trying to stop her and stuff. So they all escape. And then they end up at this Chinese restaurant and have the conversation about all their powers and what they do and what are we going to do. Are we going to be heroes? Are we going to be defenders? Whatever and all that kind of stuff. And everything.
I don't think at any point at all.
No, I know. They never said that. No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. And I hated that.
Yeah.
And everything like that. But midway through the season, what I'm just trying to say is they're now a team that have to work together against the hand and stuff. And this is when this is when the show really picked up for me, even in another viewing of it. And I was excited about it, and everything. And it was really good in that fashion. But it was like a lot of talking, a lot of stuff, and then, because you had to have all these different fights and complications and all that kind of stuff. But
a lot of exposition. Is that they call it exposition?
Yeah. A lot of exposition.
Is this the one, or was it Daredevil season 2 where Stick is literally like shooting people like over his shoulder in a car chase when they're on motorcycles? He's literally just blindly shooting at them.
So
there's being like very aware of like upping your senses when you're blind, and then there's just being a freaking god. Yeah,
so Stick shows up. It's like he's the one who trained Daredevil. So Daredevil's blind, in case you didn't know.
No way.
And Stick is blind.
He just sees a world on fire.
He has the radar sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
And everything else like that. But Stick doesn't. So it's like, so what you're saying about what he does is just like too crazy. Like he chops off his hand to get away from the hand. To go and find.
I'd forgotten about that bit. God.
Yeah.
Also, he's probably one of the only few people who basically tells Jessica Jones to just shut the proper tells, but then like
and then she leaves.
She immediately leaves. Yeah. He's like, sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
Cuts to a scene, she's leaving. She doesn't take authority well.
No. But so, what's also interesting about the show is each show has its own set of supporting characters. So they dump them all into a police station, and we get to see all the different sidekick supporting characters of our heroes.
I think I feel like it's just as fun that when you see not only the main characters but the side characters meeting as well. Yeah.
No, exactly. It was pretty cool in that aspect. So I'm gonna jump to the end now. So their final mission is that under the building that they went into, the Minute Circle, there's supposed to be the bones of a dragon, right? That leads to Kunlun. So. What's kind of funny is like when Danny tells Luke about his origins. Like we never seen his origins, but if I'm a big Iron Fist fan, that he puts his fist into the heart of the dragon and everything. So there's a dead dragon underneath this building.
Wow. So
the hand needs Danny to break through the wall to get to the dragon. So that's why they want him. So the heroes who don't consider themselves heroes, now they have to go and rescue Danny. But Colleen brings a bag of C4 because she wants to blow up the building, right? So again, they have to have discussions about this, right? So they go down, they fight the hand, right, and everything. And we got to get out of here. So as the other heroes are getting out, Daredevil stays behind to fight Elektra and everything. The building's starting to come down, right? And it falls down onto him and stuff and everything. And then it's kind of like, they're all up there like thinking, where's Matt? What's going on? And in that aspect is the fact that we're like, whoa, you just can't kill off Daredevil. What the fuck? Right? He got another season.
What's happening here?
Yeah, what's happening? And in a way, it should have been to inspire them to be heroes. Like, he inspired Danny because he says to Danny, I need you to protect my city. So Danny ends up on the rooftop with a glowing fist and a weird looking crazy tracksuit, which is still not the outfit from his superhero outfit.
That was another thing that really annoyed me, the lack of. But
you gotta admit that scene when they all come back to their family and friends in the police station. You got Foggy and Karen, who was Daredevil's people. So they're looking as they come in one by one, to join their family, and it's like, where's Matt? Where's Matt? And stuff. That really kind of like was a heartbreaking moment and stuff, and like you're thinking this show's gonna end with Daredevil dead. What the frick? And then so I'm only talking about because we've already seen it. So Daredevil 3, basically it did happen because Matt is now revealed that his body's all broken up, but he's inside like this convent kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And they say go tell Maggie that he's awake, right? And everything, because it was a famous comic called Born Again.
Oh, right.
And so that was what Daredevil season 3 was.
Right.
Was his comeback. And Maggie was also supposed to be his mom.
Right.
And everything, but pretty cool. So nice ending to good series. I really wish they would have done season 2.
Oh yeah.
I think they were primed for it.
Perhaps even have Punisher come in and join them.
Exactly, because Punisher, debuted the next year. But then, like, the thing about it is it's because of that damn Scott Buck, So, sorry, it was kind of long, but, a lot
of Disney have taken them up now. It does feel like a lot more hope, especially with Kingpin's appearance in
and with the Echo series and all that kind of stuff, yeah. Hopefully, last thing I just want to say about it is that Finn Jones probably had more time to learn, right? And, they don't need an Asian kung fu. I almost said kung fu. They don't need an Asian guy to be Iron Fist. That's not what the character was ever created to be.
Right.
And everything. And to make him an Asian character is more racist than to not make him an Asian character.
Right.
And I don't think that's hard for me to say because that wasn't the point in their creating of this character in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's an interesting conversation, though, isn't it? I mean, there's a famous, it wasn't a TV series, but a film of David Copperfield with a really good British Asian guy playing David Copperfield, and that's obviously not how it was written, and is pretty unlikely to have been.
Yeah, but it was a British show, though, wasn't it?
It was, absolutely. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, in that kind of context, I think, you do what you do. It's not like we're going to fly an American in here.
Yeah, gotcha, yeah.
I've often thought about that when I first came here. It was like, hey, I should be pretty popular because I want to do a lot of extra work, because I did end up on Coronation Street.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Name
you
drop.
haven't told us that story.
I did 3 seconds on Coronation Street. Everybody saw it.
And you've got it on VHS still, don't you?
I wish I did. But no.
Full circle, eh?
Yeah, I'm telling you. Okay, so anyway, so Sean, tell us about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, God, this has actually won the record, if you can call it that, for the longest running American sitcom. Started in 2005 and it's still going strong today.
Wow.
I think because something else I mentioned last time when we were talking about long-running series, I think it's because it stays relevant to modern day. So still
You mean topical?
Exactly, topical. Still finds a way of just creating more and more new stories that you think they've done them all, but then you get some and think, oh, they didn't do that before. So it stars initially 5 people. I think.
It's 4 people.
It's 4. It starts off with 4
people,
people,
yeah.
goes to 5.
Season
I mean,
two.
are you including the sister or something like that?
No.
Maybe.
Oh well,
Their dad.
the main one, yeah.
Danny DeVito from season 2.
I was
Yeah,
getting,
I know,
I was
but
getting to that.
he was at it though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
season 2.
yeah. I think he's the only well-known name. I don't know if apart from Charlie Day, you'll have
Charlie
seen Charlie
Day, yeah.
Day in so much, and if you haven't seen him, you'll have definitely heard him before.
Yeah,
Because
Charlie Day, yeah.
He's loud enough. He's almost every bit of dialogue sounds like he's screaming. Anyway, there are a bunch of narcissists. Basically, that's how they're described in most descriptions. They are. I mean, I think, to be honest, I started watching it because it was highly recommended, and at first, I couldn't quite get. I mean, I still watched it all, but I couldn't quite get into it just because
Season 1 was really hard to get into, wasn't
Yeah.
because of just how freaking horrible these people were. Like, but then I kind of just learned when you go in knowing this is just literally the part of the story, part of what it is. Like, you're just waiting for them to top themselves in how horrible they can be, not only to each other but just everyone around them.
I think for me, when I was watching it, the reason why I don't like season 1 is because Danny DeVito steals the show
Yeah, exactly,
for me. When he
yeah.
comes in, it's so much
Oh, yeah.
better. Oh my god, I love that
God,
man.
yeah. I mean, he plays Frank Reynolds, which is the the supposed father of the two siblings, Dennis and Dee, and I mean, it is revealed later on that he's not. It's not a big spoil, but he's not actually their dad. But then he's basically got a huge share in their pub. I never mentioned. Sorry, these characters. They all work in a place called Paddy's Pub in Philadelphia, obviously. And it's very run. Well, it's not. It looks okay inside, but like outside, like you'd wonder how anyone could find it. And it's true. Like most of the time, you see the interior, which is where most of it's set, and there's like 3 or 4 people just sitting in the background in the booths, mostly old men, just nothing else to do, just drinking.
Well, it's just a common trope for American sitcom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just have
pretty
a one
much.
set.
One
I mean, I think half the
one
time
main
they
set.
literally leave the pub without even
Yeah,
closing or
yeah.
anything. They just come and go as they please.
Yeah.
You've just touched on another one we've got to cover actually with Cheers. We've got to go down.
Oh,
that
yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Much crowded. Much more crowded.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of it's like just sort of like the antics they get up to and stuff. I mean, so obviously you got Charlie, who's like I think the least smartest of all of them.
Bestest boy, and he has dyslexia, so he's my representation in that show.
You have this.
He has a weird thing about eating cat food. I don't know why.
What?
He's if you think like batshit insane, it's him. And also he's voice acting Luigi in the next Mario film.
Oh no.
So
way.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, given his natural voice, I feel like he's gonna top.
I
What's
can't
his name
wait.
is Mario. It's,
Luigi.
Isn't it guy from Guardians?
yeah, and,
Chris.
Chris
no.
Pratt. That's
Chris
it.
Pratt. Yeah.
I nearly said Chris Pine. That's why I didn't say anything.
I
I was
said
like,
Chris
he's not-
Brown. Whoops.
Two totally different people.
Two-
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
But yeah, and then
Chris
he ends up being like roommates with Frank, Danny DeVito, and they have like the best duo.
Friends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean they all have like a chance to work off each other, and I think those two are just hilarious together.
But the funniest thing in the show, Charlie is like obsessed with this girl,
Yes.
and he's like he's trying to get with her, but in real life that's his wife.
Yeah, that's
which makes
his
it
real life
better.
wife. Yeah.
It's brilliant.
And like this has been going on for like the entire time, which is like what 15 years or something. He's
Yeah.
just been obsessed with her.
But it's never gonna.
And you know what the funniest thing is? She's only ever referred to as the waitress because when she starts out, she's a waitress, and this is how like horrible they are. They never ever bother to learn their names. That's another thing. There are reoccurring characters who will be like, "Oh God, not you guys again," and they'll be like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Like they I mean, at one point they've literally destroyed their lives. Some cases, like I say, quite literally. And they just don't even remember doing it. Like,
Yeah.
there's a character called Rickety Cricket who's got a real name who I can't even remember now, and I feel fucking horrible.
Matthew.
Matthew, yeah, he's called Matthew, but they always refer to him as Rickety Cricket. He starts off as a well-established priest. He's got enough going for him. He's happy, and then I mean, I'll let the story speak to itself. But basically, as the seasons go out, something happens in that first episode you see him in, and he becomes homeless.
Right.
And each season he gets worse
Crack
and worse and worse.
He gets like into a crack addict, I think.
Oh, he becomes
homeless
he
crack addict.
becomes an angel dust addict, yeah.
Oh my god.
To the point where he's horribly deformed and a complete shell of his former self.
But the show is like basically
that is definitely one of the most to me. It's definitely one of the most depressing things.
Yeah.
And like I say, he is one of those ones where like it's like you locked like he's scarred around the sides. Like you locked me in a burning down house and locked the door and like. Do you remember doing that? No.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give a shit.
But the show's basically like horrible people do horrible things and they never change. That's why.
Basically,
Yeah, I think the show kind of like came out around the end of Seinfeld, and it was like Seinfeld went out like that.
Yeah.
You know, Seinfeld went out like that, where it was like they were really horrible bastards in the end, and like because when I looked at the first season, that's what it made me think of. These guys were like trying to replace that. Instead of just being nice from the jump, we're just going to be horrible bastards who don't give a shit about anybody, and we're going to do the craziest things. I don't know. I think I saw. Don't quote me. I think I saw some Nazi stuff, but like I think I just saw some weird stuff on the show. But like
at one point, yeah, it turns out like I think it's. Is it D and Dennis and D's grandfather was a Nazi?
Well, see, there we go.
Yeah,
so, like,
that does speak volumes about them.
Yeah, you know, but I mean, I just couldn't understand what was so powerful about the show because, like, for me, you know, I always heard about it, and it's like nothing inspired me to like want to watch it, like the title and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I heard about Danny DeVito, and I was a fan. From Taxi and and all that other kind of stuff, but I was just kind of like, no, nothing makes me want to watch this thing until we started doing this, and I thought, maybe I should probably check it out, but well,
like the thing for me, like I wasn't interested in the show at all, but then I looked into like the background and stuff, and the first season was put on TV, like the channels, like anyone can put whatever they want up there, and that's how they got picked up. So it was like Freeview TV, that's how they got picked up, and then Danny Vito was like, oh, this looks kind of cool, I want to be
they
involved.
call it that was Cable, wasn't it?
That's it.
Cable, yeah. So what's the famous rock one? What's it called? I can't remember. The two crazy rock fans. Oh, sorry, just move on.
You'll get at the end.
Rambling here.
I was going to say Wayne's World, but
Wayne's
that's
World, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Wayne's World, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's not the right one, but
they also don't know where they stand on swearing. At one point, they just don't do it. Then they decide suddenly they're going to go all out. I mean, Charlie realizes his mum kept sleeping with men dressed as Father Christmas on Christmas, so he literally goes up to a mall centre and out of nowhere just goes, "Did you fuck my mom?"
Wow.
He tries to tear out his throat as well. It gets so violent. And it's like, it's just constantly effing throughout. But then the next season, nothing. They just start bleeping it out.
I think it's because it's American, because American TV is quite weird about swearing. When
that is
Britain,
so weird.
It's like we're okay with it.
Shows like Supernatural or something, or Hannibal, like perfectly fine with the freaking gory violence, but like swearing, no. That's not Christian. That is not Christian.
You cannot blaspheme, no.
But in the UK, it's like after a certain time, it's like, do what you want. We don't care. We don't care.
Even Breaking Bad was like that. It was all taking drugs and everything. And yet after the first scene, it was like, no more swearing. No.
No.
But though, funny enough, the last two seasons, 14 and 15, they've put the swearing back in. So I don't know what the hell they're trying to do.
So after 15 seasons, I mean, usually like American shows need 5 seasons to get residuals where they can have the ancillary rights to play all the time.
I remember you saying that before. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
10 seasons is a milestone. I mean, not many shows hit that, like MASH or Big Bang Theory. 15 freaking seasons. Now you're in cartoon territory. You're in, like, Simpsons, Family Guy, and all that. South Park. So what are they doing 15 years later? Are they still working in the pub?
Oh, God, yeah, that's never going to go anywhere.
Yeah, but has their life moved on in any way? Nobody's got kids and partners?
No.
Yeah, well, Dennis at one point...
wearing the same freaking clothes?
Yeah, Dennis at one point leaves because he thinks he's got a surrogate son. Not a surrogate son, he's got he thinks he's got an actual son, but then...
Who's probably graduating or something.
But then the next season, he just comes back and he's like, yeah, I'm back.
Basically,
like doesn't explain why he's back.
the
He just
show-
comes back. And
The show isn't like one of those where you're going to see them like improve and become better people. They're always going to be horrible people. They're never going to change.
Oh yeah.
I think there's like there is one episode though, isn't there, that had I think Mac, the one who's like the gay character.
Yeah.
It's like it was actually quite like a really nice
Oh
episode.
god, yeah, it
when
went
he's in prison.
really deep. Yeah, well, he's not in prison. His dad's in prison.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Performance in prison.
He puts like a dance performance on to
Kind of come out to his dad
Yeah.
in a way, and his dad doesn't accept him, and he walks out. But
Yeah.
Danny DeVito is literally there, like proper like clapping. I was crying watching that.
finally gets the gay thing. I was like wondering like, where's the punchline here? But no, it ends. I think that's the last in the season.
I
Well, it just
think, yeah.
ends right there, and
I know the guy in
I was like, holy shit, they went really deep with this one.
I know the guy who plays Mac on his Instagram was saying like he proper like cared deeply about how this episode. I think it's the only one that was genuinely heartfelt, like the only episode in the whole
Oh, yeah.
the whole show. I really like that episode. I was full on crying watching it. It was really nice.
God, yeah, and like he's married to the actress who plays Dee as well, the actor, and like in the series they hate each other. Oh God, yeah, like every moment he's like, "Shut up, you bitch." it's like I mean he's very I forget like when he really like has a high regard for himself. Like he plays the bouncer. He's like the bouncer of the group. And yet, he thinks like he's. It's not like literally to the later seasons. He actually does get really buff. But then early on, he's like, yeah. Can you tell by these like at one point? In fact, at one point, I can't remember which season it is, but he actually puts on several pounds and gets diabetes.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, funny enough, it's then that people somehow find him more intimidating. I don't know how it works.
It's a very pretty man.
Yeah.
So prediction wise, how do you think they will go out?
I feel like it would be only poetic. I mean, it'd probably be a bit too Seinfeld, but them getting jailed or something feels like the only way it can really end.
Seinfeld.
Either that, or Cricket and probably everyone else they've wronged gets to sue them for everything they're worth. Like, I'm really hoping that like Cricket just is able to afford a surgery that fixes every horrible blemish he's ever got from them. And then they're basically left with nothing, which probably would be poetic justice, but then also funny because like you'd see them in this sort of situation and wonder what they do next, but then you may not get it because
My head canon for the ending finale episode, whatever you call it, is that Charlie accidentally sets the pub on fire in a very stupid way.
Yeah.
Charlie is the reason why they all disappear. It has to be.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, the stuff they've done. I mean, there's that one where Charlie believes he has to like do things with certain colours because it'll make the Philadelphia Eagles win. What's funny is they actually, because they got two cutouts of Philadelphia Eagle players. I don't know their names. It might be the quarterback and one other. But at one point, he because he accidentally stands it, he tries to go home alone because he thinks people are breaking in. So he tries to go home alone, but then he ends up falling in his own traps. And at one point gets caught in his own bear trap, which gets pretty graphic, like goes right into it. And then he obviously loses a lot of blood and starts hallucinating the players, and they're played by the actual people, and they're really talking to him.
Wow.
And he's like, "Oh no, we're gonna lose. Tom Brady's got the ball. You're gonna have to do something red. You're gonna have to step back in that trap."
Oh my God.
And the funny thing is, they do actually end up winning. What's funny is though, this whole story arc is split into two episodes. One takes place in Charlie's perspective in the pub because they accidentally leave him behind because they get all at the start. They all get on the party bus to go to this booth they've got. I think they steal it from someone else, which makes sense given them. And Dee gets pink eye, which they establish she accidentally gives to Tom Brady by using his towel. You never see. You just hear the commentators like it's like Tom Brady's just blind all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But then the next episode is like taking place from their perspective as well.
Okay. Well, it's always sunny
Oh yeah.
in Philadelphia.
Sounds wild.
Yeah. And everything. Where can you find it?
Netflix. It's all on Netflix.
Yeah. All right. Well, Faye, we saved the best for last.
Oh, thank you. So I'm going to be talking about the animation section.
Always.
Yes, because I'm a little bit of an animation nerd, and I'm picking a wholesome show this time. It's by the same creator of Cowboy Bebop, which I can't pronounce his name, and I really don't want to butcher it. So can we put this on the screen somewhere around me, please? I don't want to butcher his name. I don't want to be rude, but it basically came out on Netflix in 2019 and finished in 2020. And the story, very simple. It's these two girls who meet and want to become singers. That's basically the gist of the story. There's only 2 seasons, and season 1 is about them going into a contest, kind of like an X Factor thing, mixing with all different types of musicians. So we have like different types. We have like funk, pop, rap, old men singing metal songs. It's brilliant. The music in the show is phenomenal. And then in season 2, we get more of a darker kind of episodes. There's actually a Whitney Houston episode, a character called Flora who is based off of Whitney Houston, and it talks about what this, if they want to become this, what could happen, where they feel like they can't trust anyone, no one will truly be connected with them, or people will use them for their money. And it's like this ongoing story, but if you just want a wholesome time, I just say check it out. Also as well, the show itself, very, very diverse, as in skin colour, sexual orientation, even gender identity. Not particularly done well in some aspects. For example, Angel's mum, who is trans, it's kind of a bit problematic. I don't know enough to talk about it.
Does she have like a really deep voice or something?
It's not that. It's I think it's the way that they talk about, because obviously you've got to take hormones. It's that, and it's not done very well, and it's kind of like...
Sorry, are they transitioning into a woman or a man?
Woman.
Okay.
So her she takes hormones, obviously, because she's trans, but the way that they portray it isn't exactly great. When I was watching it, I was kind of like, oh, like when you watch the show, you're like, oh wow, we have what was it, Gus, who is the Carolyn Tuesday's manager, who has an ex-wife who recently came out as lesbian and has a girlfriend, and Gus is literally like, I'm happy for you, dude. Like, they have like a conversation at a table. I was watching this like, god damn, this is actually really sweet. We don't have any confrontation based off of somebody's sexuality or gender or even race in this show, but then you get stuff like that, and it kind of ruined it a little bit, because I was like, that's not, you know, why?
Because of the way they handled it.
Yeah, it's just a bit disappointing. But the show itself, other than that, is quite wholesome. The story is very, very simple. It's like 2 girls enter a competition. They kind of win by default. You kind of know they're going to win. But in each episode, when it ends, you get a vinyl of a real life song that was made around our generation. So I think there's the Beach Boys, a Whitney Houston.
Cool.
I think the Beatles as well, but it's like the title card will be a name of an actual song.
Right.
But music in this is the best part about the show, is honestly the music. It's all available on Spotify. 100% recommend it. There's, and also in the show, a load of characters are based off of real life people. Like I've said before, we had Whitney Houston character, which is Flora. We have a David Bowie character, which is called Desmond. They are phenomenal. Their episode made me cry. I was in tears. Wow. And also we have Beyonce, who is kind of portrayed by a character called Crystal, who is, again, it's so good. The R&B music in this is amazing.
Fabulous, yeah.
But the only problem I've seen with the show is the ending of season 2. It's not really a spoiler because I'm not telling you what happens, but it's like, to be continued in your mind. That's how it ends. And everyone, I was kind of sitting there like, it's a like the last episode is really wholesome, and it's makes me like really happy and stuff. It's just about them bringing everyone together, like Band-Aid kind of the final episode.
Right, yeah.
But then you're like, did they make it? Didn't they? And but I know the guy who made Cowboy Bebop in this show is well known for doing those kind of animes where he just ends it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, it's up for you to decide what happens. Like, it's open for interpretation.
So this is Japanese made?
It's a collab with, oh no, it's actually based off of a manga, I think, but I'm not too sure. But it's in collaboration with Netflix Animation.
Because like, I mean, Japanese media, it's never always that open with diversity, you know, like in terms of LGBT culture.
Actually, you'll be surprised. There are quite a lot of stuff with LGB, but when we're talking about like different races and stuff, there's hardly any. But with LGBTQ, there's loads. I really like their stuff. Again, not all of it is great. Some of it is problematic, but there are small stuff that's genuinely wholesome. Yeah, which I'm trying to get out and show people because I want people to feel included.
Sure, yeah, that's right. I like the sound of that from a musical perspective.
But I thought we'd finish on a wholesome one that wasn't too dark, sunny in
Awesome.
Philadelphia.
So how many seasons are there?
There's only 2.
Oh, right, okay.
It's technically part 1, part 2, but
Yeah.
I'm calling it seasons 1 and 2 because that's what it is. But I recommend it really well.
Fabulous. And
All
it's
right.
on Netflix again, did you
Yes,
say?
on
Yeah.
Netflix for you guys to watch.
Fantastic. We'll check
Well,
it out.
hey, I mean, that was like today's episode of TV Squad. As we endeavor to bring you great recommendations, 4 different viewpoints, 4 different types of shows and everything. So that was all great. And we'll see you next time here on TV Squad, and where's my camera? All I could just say is...
It's this one.
That one?
Yeah.
Well, change the channel.